Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Laura Matuzzo. I am the Marketing and Support Coordinator here at HeinOnline. I'm excited to be hosting today's session where we'll be exploring Altmetric's integration with HeinOnline. Some of you may remember we held a very similar webinar last year. While we'll be touching upon some of the same concepts today, we're also excited to be highlighting new features and enhancements on both platforms that have been introduced since then. I am joined today by Michelle Herbert, the Project Engagement Specialist for Digital Science, the company behind Altmetric. Together, we're going to walk you through how Altmetric works, what's new with the platform, and how you can easily access Altmetric data right within HeinOnline. During today's webinar, we encourage you to utilize the Q&A feature throughout the presentation. We'll do our best to answer questions as they come in, but we're also going to make sure we have some time at the end for any questions that might have been missed. So again, just a quick look at what we're covering today. Michelle is going to start us out with an overview of Altmetric and share some of the exciting updates to their platform. Then I'm going to take you right into HeinOnline and show you where you can find Altmetric data. Plus, I'm going to demo our newest feature, the DOI facet, which is just going to help you filter content with DOIs more quickly in HeinOnline. So again, we're so glad you're here with us today. We'll go ahead and get started. So Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm just going to go over some things. If you haven't seen the Altmetric badge on HeinOnline, it's very colorful. Each of the colors does represent one of the sources we're tracking. And as you can see, they're also weighted. So you can immediately see what's useful for you, whether that's social media. We recently added Blue Sky, which will be that darker blue between X and Facebook. I like that I'm talking about colors that you're not seeing. But do keep that in mind that this number in the middle is saying that there is a tension about your paper. And just as a quick view, when looking at our metric badge, as I've said, the colors are what's useful. So here's some examples. The first badge is X and Facebook. The second is news and X. Third is policy, and then the fourth one is Wikipedia and news. So again, as you use the badges, when you see them, you'll start to recognize those colors, and then being able to click on those badges will actually give you a deeper dive in. So this is one of the badges from HeinOnline. So it's from the Journal of Ethics and Social Philosophy. So as you can see, we've got news, a blog, and X users. And one of the news features that we wanted to highlight is you can now actually see when those mentions are coming in. So when you click on a badge on HeinOnline, you'll be able to see when those mentions come in. So you can see citations are actually coming through almost immediately from publication in July. We've got X mentions, those news mentions, and blogs. So as each one starts, that's when the new mention will come in. So you've always got that functionality. And again, you can also click in. So if you've got those tabs at the top, this is an example of going into those policy documents for a different paper and then seeing exactly what those policy documents were mentioning in terms of that paper. Anytime you've got a new source, you'll be able to view those as well as the citations. And just to let you know, the last button is that alert me about new mentions. And that's what it looks like. If you've signed up, it will actually give you alerts to any new mentions coming in. So from HeinOnline, clicking on Altmetric badge will also allow you to send yourself alerts about any new papers with the Altmetric badge. And that's what it will look like in your email. And you can always unsubscribe. And that's just a very quick bit of how it's useful to you. So you can discover trending research when you're looking at HeinOnline. You can demonstrate the value of your research for any promotions and funding, looking at new collaborators, managing your online reputation, especially if you're looking at X or Blue Sky, and then informing future content strategies. And this is just maybe looking, if you are in a journal, looking and retaining key authors, and then your journal audience. Because again, I do not know who you are on this course, so I'm giving very broad use cases of why the badges might be useful to you. And that is over to Lauren. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and just talk a little bit more about Altmetric within HeinOnline. So some of the things I do want to talk about, which we do get a lot of questions here in support, is this a free integration? And it is. So there is no cost to this. It is free with any subscription that comes into HeinOnline. The second question we get a lot is where would I find a DOI Altmetric badge? And that's where I would point you to our journals database. So currently that is where you will find this feature. When we did release this feature, it was very popular. We had a lot of feedback, which was great. People love to see, just exactly what the outside world is talking about when it comes to scholarly works. And one of the main feedback we got from our customers was they would love the ability to refine by whether or not an article has a DOI facet. That's just going to make it a lot easier and faster to see those DOI badges in HeinOnline. So I'm going to actually jump right into our newest feature to show you how that works. And I don't know about you, but I am a big criminal justice and true crime buff. So I love using HeinOnline to just kind of research some different things around that subject. So I'm going to go ahead and run a search. Let's say that I'm researching false confessions. So I'm going to go ahead and start my search here. Let's say I'm looking for false confessions and psychology. So I'm just going to run a quick query here within our journals database. Now, one thing we do want to point out is that we do have our scholar check metrics. So whether or not you are new to HeinOnline, I'm just going to give a nice brief overview of what our scholar check metrics are. So you can see our scholar check metrics here with an Altmetric badge on the right-hand side. Scholar Check is our internal research tool that we have put together for customers. And what we do is we're constantly checking to see if articles or cases have been cited by other articles or cases. So why do we do that? Well, when you're researching, obviously you want to have an authoritative work. So typically when I start my research, I like to go to my results and I like to sort. So HeinOnline has a lot of sorting options here. So I typically start by number of times cited by articles. That way I'm going to get results where the most cited content is up first. Now that we have that done, maybe I'm very interested in seeing the articles in HeinOnline and how they're being discussed in the outside world. And that's where Altmetric is going to come in handy. So you'll notice that we have our faceting tool on the left-hand side here with a lot of different options. And one of our newest options, as you can see at the bottom here, is the digital object identifier. So the options here are DOI no or DOI yes. So in this case, I want to see articles that have a digital object identifier. Now, why is that? That is because if you want to see a donut badge in HeinOnline, there are two ways a donut badge will appear in HeinOnline. Number one, the article must have a DOI. And so we can see here that this article does in fact have a DOI. The second indicator is that the article has been mentioned at least one time in an outside source. So the only way you will see that Altmetric badge appear again is if an article has a DOI and if it has been mentioned at least one time. So while it's great that we have our scholar check metrics within HeinOnline, you can see how things are being cited within HeinOnline through cases and articles, even here by the American Law Institute. We can also see that, for example, this article has been accessed 170 times in a rolling 12-month period. This is giving us all the information of citations within HeinOnline. The great piece about Altmetric is now we can see what the outside world is also saying about this content. So this article looks right to be right on the exact track of what I'm looking for when I'm researching maybe for a false confession. And so if I click this Altmetric badge, similar to what Michelle had showed you, is you will get a nice overview of all of the content that Altmetric has to offer. You also see that we have a nice little HeinOnline branding to just kind of show you that that's our integration with Altmetric. You'll see the Altmetric attention score right here, which is, again, something that Altmetric puts together. They have a whole way of doing that, and they have a lot of help resources, which I'll showcase in just a minute so you can understand more about how they come up with these numbers. As Michelle mentioned, those colors are going to be indicated by all the different outlets, whether it be X, formerly Twitter, blogs, policy documents, news outlets, anything like that. One of their new features is this new timeline that's been added, and this is actually going to show you how over time this article has been mentioned in the outside world. So we can see that there's a nice trending piece here to this article. So again, that's just a very quick overview when I click on a badge. So that's one place you would be able to see an Altmetric badge in HeinOnline, which is again going to be those search results, and that's going to be right next to your Scholar Check metrics. In addition, I'm actually going to open up the actual article as if we were viewing it in HeinOnline. So again, if you're wondering where would I find that Altmetric badge when I'm viewing a document, you will again see that we have our Scholar Check metrics here. And then right next to it is that Altmetric badge. It's a little bit different than that donut badge, but it's going to be listed right next to our Scholar Check. And again, if I click on that, it's going to bring me directly into the Altmetric information. So back to the article at hand. Again, this is going to be the second place that you are going to be able to find the Altmetric information for an article. And then lastly, I've opened up a HeinOnline author profile page. So how it works, just to give you a little bit of background on HeinOnline, is our production team here at HeinOnline is always going in and they're actually keying in all the important information. So for example, when this Law and Human Behavior Journal came into HeinOnline, our production team went in and actually indexed the title, all of the authors, they indexed the DOI number. And again, this is just a way to make content more discoverable to you. Now, when a author's name is applied to an article, HeinOnline automatically creates what we call an author profile page. Within an author profile page, so you can see here, just an example I've pulled up is Saul M. Casson, who wrote the article we were just happening to be viewing within the search results. You can see here, it's telling us that he has 44 articles in HeinOnline. So we can actually scroll through and see all of this author's works in one place. What's really cool is you can see he actually has a few Altmetric badges. Now, one thing I like to point out about the Altmetric integration and what it brings, to your HeinOnline experience is that while we have our Scholar Check metrics within HeinOnline here, you may notice as I scroll down and find some of these other articles that have Altmetric badges. Let's say, for example, this one here. This has only been cited by 2 articles in HeinOnline, but we can see it already has an Altmetric attention score of 16, and it's already being talked about in the outside world. So while some of these may not have any citations, for example, this doesn't even have a citation in HeinOnline, we can see that the outside world is talking about this scholarly content. So it just is giving you another way to look at how these scholarly works are being portrayed in the outside world. What are people saying? Just a great, nice way to add to your research when you're in HeinOnline. Now, the last piece of where you might be able to find an Altmetric integration is through what we call our MyHein. So MyHein is a personal research tool that we have. You can see that I'm actually signed into MyHein here, but if you weren't signed in, you would see a create an account or a login option up here. Something to point out about MyHein is it is free of charge. So it is not tied any way to a subscription through the institution or however you're accessing HeinOnline. It's a very personal account. When you go ahead and create your MyHein account, you create your username, you create your password. It's something that only you can access. So this is just a great way to organize your research. So if I want to bookmark different documents, if I want to save some search queries, I can look at my search history. I can set up alerts for various serials that might still be publishing in HeinOnline to be notified when new content has been added. So there's a lot of different things you can do with my Hein. But let's say that I'm in this search results page. Maybe I started sifting through some of these results and I want to save this to my Hein. So there's a few ways to save bookmarking. You'll see on the search results, we have a little bookmarking tool. And if I happen to go back into the article, you'll also notice that there is a bookmarking option within the toolbar here. So when you do select this, again, you do have to be signed into your MyHein account. You can either pick an existing folder. So I have a few different folders where I've been saving content to, or I can add a new folder. So maybe this one is going to be all information on false confessions. So I'm going to go ahead and save that bookmark. And when I click on View Saved Bookmark, you'll see again, I have that article we were just viewing. It's saved here. I have the Altmetric badge showcasing. I have the ability to download the article. I can click right into Altmetric from my Hein, and I can go through all those various documents. So there's a lot here you can do with my Hein, but I just want to display that this is another place where you may see Altmetrics being listed as you are saving documents. As we go back into the Altmetric integration here, you can see again, we have a nice summary. We have all the news features. So this example for you can see that this has actually been mentioned in a lot. We have Time Magazine here. We have a lot of different news outlets that have covered this DOI and this article specifically to use it in their research. Any blogs where the DOI is being picked up, again, you'll be able to see those here. You can see the date on them. Similarly with X, otherwise known as Twitter, you can actually click into these and view the I guess posts they're now called, and you can see, you know, if people are commenting on those, what are people saying, all that information on Altmetric. So there is a lot you can do here with that Altmetric integration. So again, just to review, some of the new things we have here is the digital object identifier facet. That's going to make it a lot easier for you to hone in on any articles that do have a DOI. You can also use our advanced search, which is going to be right underneath that one box search bar. Now, within the advanced search, you can go ahead and you can actually search for a DOI. So if there is a DOI number that you have handy and you want to quickly pull up an article, you can do that with our DOI search facet here. You can also search for a text. So similar to my search query, you can write in anything that you're looking for. If you specifically wanted articles with a DOI, what you could do is just go in and add an asterisk. That's going to search for anything that has a DOI, but that filter option is actually really the most beneficial way to search for anything with a DOI. Some more information on DOIs. I know we had a lot of questions last time about what's Hein doing with DOIs. We did have an initiative back in June of 2020 where moving forward, any journal that came into HeinOnline, we were going ahead and we were indexing any DOIs. So that again made it easier for you to search using that advanced search for a specific DOI number. Secondly, since then, we have started going backwards from June 2020, and our production team is taking a look at any articles that existed prior to June 2020 that may have a DOI, and we are now indexing those. So as time goes on, more and more content will become more discoverable. The last thing I would like to point out is that we do have an initiative that we currently have been talking with the University of Utah on providing a minting service for DOI. So if there are journals in HeinOnline that still exist and are still publishing and they don't have a DOI, we are going to try our best to get those journals on board to grab a DOI, again, bringing just more metrics into HeinOnline. When new journals are added to HeinOnline, we actually have a form for these journals to fill out. And one of the things we do ask is if they do in fact have a DOI. That way we know when content is being added to HeinOnline, we need to look for that DOI to index it and again, make it more discoverable for our customers. So that is just a very brief overview of what is new in HeinOnline. We have that DOI facet. Something to note about these Altmetric badges, they are updated daily, so all that content is current. What else should we be talking about before we jump over to questions? Let's see. Do we have any questions at the moment, Michelle?
There's actually quite a lot of questions.
Oh, great.
Some of them you've covered and some of you haven't. So I'll just read out the earliest one and we'll go from there. So the
Okay.
first one was, how long will it take for these features to roll out to all accounts? Is this instantaneous or is it across?
Yep, so it's instantaneous. So as soon as you have access to HeinOnline, whether you're trialing or whether you have a subscription, this is just integrated right into HeinOnline. So again, that is going to be there. You're going to see exactly what I'm seeing on the screen now. Again, but just to keep in mind, the only way you will see an Altmetric badge is if a journal does have a DOI and it is mentioned in at least one outside source. So a journal, as you can see, may have a DOI, but it may not have been mentioned in an outside source, therefore you wouldn't see that Altmetric badge.
Okay, and you need to be logged into your HeinOnline account to see all of these features.
Correct.
The next question is, who provides the DOI? So it is the journal, it will be the publisher in most cases, but as you've just mentioned, Lauren, you are working on minting DOIs for stuff that may not be traditional in a journal as well. So hopefully we'll see more of those coming in. Um, if the article does not have a DOI assigned at the time of publication, but has one assigned later, will the Altmetric data only show from the date the DOI was assigned or to the date of publication? It will be from the date the DOI is assigned. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to track the data before the DOI. If it is on a university repository with a handle that is registered, we may pick up mentions. So there might be a possible way that there'll be previous mentions when the DOI comes in, but it's very unlikely, to be honest. Okay, just a reiteration. Can you how did you add the DOI filter to your search?
Oh, the filter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically are just going to go ahead and I can just redo this real quick. So let's say I enter into the journals database, which again is where you're going to find these badges. You can just run any search query you want. And once you get to your results page, we have a nice faceting tool on the left-hand side. And what's really nice about this tool is I can click on any of these options and I can go through and refine all at once. But the one that we were focusing on today, for example, is the digital object identifier. So this is going to tell me that, 1,108 of these results don't have a DOI, but there are 388 articles that do. So if I select DOI yes, you can see here in real time our results actually drop to 388. Now once I select apply, my results are going to now shift to only articles that have a DOI.
Okay. The next question is, what is the scale of Altmetrics? Is there a maximum score? No, they can grow as more people mention them, different sources. So um, some of the Altmetric badges I've seen that were related to COVID have scores of over 50,000. That's very unusual. We would expect most to actually be scoring around 40 to 150. That's more of an average. But yeah, the next popular thing that blows up will probably increase our scores again. So do keep an eye on it. As Lauren said, they do update daily. In fact, the badges can update within an hour, but most times look once a day because you don't want to be just tracking and looking over and over. Okay, I have another question. I know some articles have DOIs, but they don't appear in the PDF. Is there a way we can notify Hein so the DOIs can be added there?
That is a great suggestion, and I am the person to bring that to, so I am going to go ahead and write that down. Um, I believe with the Q&A, I should be able to see who asked that question, so I will get back to you on that one, but I will bring that over to our content team to review. It's a great idea.
Okay. We've just got a comment. It's a great step forward for persistent identifiers, so that's always good to hear. Next question is, can you limit your timeline to access citation totals from January 2020 to January 2025 as an example? No.
Um, in HeinOnline, we can do by oldest or newest first, but you can't necessarily put in a specific date range of like January 22nd. You could use our date facet here and put in a year range, but again, you can't go as specific as to month and date.
Okay. And in the badges, the citation timeline will show all of the dates for that. So that's the long line at the very top. So you can go in and hover over the top line, um, and that will give you the citations per day. So if they've had it for 5 years, that data will all be there. But in this case, it's only showing from 2015. So you can actually see the growth if Altmetric has that, but it may not match the citations that HeinOnline have because they are different sources that are getting this data. The next question is there a timeline for including Blue Sky as a source into Heinz Altmetric integration? It's already there if it's being mentioned on Blue Sky. The examples we've shown you um, currently don't have Blue Sky mentions, but I can guarantee on my slide, the one I did, I don't know if it's in HeinOnline, but that was showing Blue Sky from this morning. So it is there. Um, if you are using social media, just in case you are, to post about your own publications that have DOIs, um, do put the DOI into your mention, the HTTPS or the publication URL, and we'll be able to track it. If you don't have space, you can actually put it in the alt text if you are using Blue Sky and you're linking with pictures. So we will be tracking it if people are using it, and if they're quoting your post with those mentions, we'll also be able to pick that up for you. Okay, that looks like the current questions. We've answered them all. You still got a couple of minutes if you do have anything else, and we are always happy for you to email either Lauren specifically. Please do copy Lauren into all emails about HeinOnline as well as the Altmetric ones. She will always forward them on to me if she's not able to answer them.
Absolutely. I do just want to point out that if you go to our help resources, we have LibGuides. And these cover all of our different databases, but they also cover some of our tools. So you can see here, we actually have a LibGuide on Altmetric. We have a nice little video. So if you get past this webinar and you still have some questions, for starters, we will be emailing everyone who registered and attended the webinar with the video recording. But we do also have a very nice LibGuide that is set up. We actually talk about how the altmetric score is calculated. So I mentioned that earlier in the demo, even going over some of the donut badge colors, the different sources, and then again, how you can see those badges in HeinOnline. So the LibGuide is a great resource. Also, we have our nice handy chat here in the lower right-hand corner. Our support team is available from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If we're not here during that time and you're online researching, you can still actually leave us a message and we typically get back within 24 hours. So again, if there's no other questions.
There is one more question.
Oh, there's one more. Okay.
It just came in.
That's great.
So the question was, what are dimension citations? And that is what you'll see in the Altmetric badge. As Lauren mentioned at the start, Altmetric is a product of digital science. Another product is dimensions. So Altmetric doesn't track citations. We actually get them from dimensions. If you click on that tab that Lauren's viewed, you can click on that button. It will take you to dimensions. You will be asked to log in with a free account. So it is free to sign up. It's not full database, but it will give you all of the citations. So this page gives you the last 3 citations Dimensions has picked up. But if you click on that badge, it will actually show you all of the citations that we've picked up for that, as well as any grants that may have come in. We are running out of time. I'm just checking if there's just one more comment. Thank you for the excellent information and not presenting a Gen AI chatbot integration. So, which I agree. It's kind
Yeah.
of nice to not be talking about AI.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for taking your time to spend with us today. Again, please reach out should you have any questions, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Michelle, thank you again so much for joining us.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.